Yeah. All right. Son of Augustine style, you get me? Yeah. New whip outside is different. Ask me where the carpet, mind your business. New whip outside, I'm vicious. Ask me where the carpet, I'll admit it. Can't you tell that I'm riding with it? 5 or 6, I can't find those digits. Line them up and say mind your business. Don't you know that my mind is different? Can't you tell that I'm riding with it? 5 or 6, I can't find those digits. Line them up and say mind your business. Don't you know that I'm riding with it? I'm riding with it. You can't see the size, ain't norm. I ain't reached my final form. I got a teach inside a storm.
Tune in for another episode of Blk Radio Show, and these are going to be some special interviews for y'all because I'm here at the Blk Podcast Festival here in Atlanta. And I have my first guest today, Miss Stephanie Williams, who is actually a speaker. I think you're speaking on Sunday, right?
Sunday, yep, Sunday morning. Ooh, it's Sunday morning. So I'm gonna be preaching out there. Like, but you know, I'm preaching at 10 o'clock. And that's where the service at my church actually is at 10 a.m.
What's the topic?
How your voice powers your platform.
That's right. And I was going through like I said, I was going through the PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to. I don't want you to give away none of the nuggets or nothing like that because you gotta.
They're like, oh, I just looked at this. I don't have to listen.
Well, actually, technically, this ain't gonna come out to afterwards, but. Because
this is not a Marvel movie, no spoilers.
Yeah.
Be like in a Marvel movie, sign 3 NDAs. I'm like, I feel like y'all don't sign 1, y'all sign at least 3.
But you're the founder, proprietor of Mocha Minutes.
Mocha Minutes, yes.
Mocha Minutes, and where are you based? Out of Baltimore?
Yep, based out of Baltimore, born and raised.
Okay.
And I take it when everybody's like, oh, like. Wait, what does that face mean?
I drove through Baltimore, I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
And at least I think I drove to the city when I was going through Maryland. I was on my way, my family, we were taking a trip to New England state, so we were going to Augusta, Maine.
Oh,
we were going through I-95. And I think if I'm correct, don't you go, when you're on the interstate, you go in the tunnel and you're underwater?
Yep, that's the Harbor Tunnel. So we technically have 2 tunnels and a bridge, but probably if you're 95, you took the Harbor Tunnel.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool, but I didn't like it. But because it felt like claustrophobic and all that or whatever. But I thought it was cool that, so you just submerge and just for miles, what I'm saying?
Where are you going? I'm going through the tunnel. Which one? You know which one if you can't really hear me. It's the Harbor Tunnel.
But let my audience know, how long have you been podcasting?
So I actually will be coming up on 5 years this September. Okay. Which is weird. So September 2017. If I can add, I'm not a mathematician. I think that's 17 plus 5 is 22.
So what inspired you to get into it?
So it's very interesting because it was actually another podcaster that I was listening to.
Oh, really?
So I was listening to Rod from the Black Eye Tips, and they have a feedback show on Saturday because they've been at it for a while. And he was reading, listening to feedback, and he said, if y'all want to, y'all have a lot of opinions, y'all should start a podcast. And you know how you sit in church and the pastor's not talking to you directly, but you're like, are you talking to me? Oh, I'm like, okay. But then it's like, okay, I'm like, I think I can do that. And then you go, wait, can I do this? Yeah. And so and that was in maybe January. Now remember, I said I started in September.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think I can do this. Yeah, I don't think I can do this. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. And then I guested on a podcast based out of DC called Hey Fraser. I think it's called the Sarah Fraser podcast now. And then I was like, maybe I can do that. And then it went back into, I don't know if I can do that. I don't think I can do this. And I'm like, yeah, that's the first thing. It's like, before somebody else will psych you out of your podcast, you'll do it yourself. Nobody's going to want to listen to me. And so I'm like, you're like, nope, I'm hitting the button. I'm doing it. I had a co-host. And it was like, this is what I wanted to do, but this is not what they wanted to do. And it's like, that's not fair to bring somebody along who don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So they were just like, Stephanie, you can do this by yourself. And I was like, I can? I don't think I can. And then I did, and I'm like, if I had a constant co-host, I don't think I would have branched out and networked and met other people. I don't think I would have, because I've been like very comfortable. Yeah, it's like when you have somebody with you, it's like it's very comfortable. Even though you see like podcasting duos that branch out with other people, I think for me, because I was so nervous, I'd have been like, no. I'm like, I don't need to meet anybody, because I don't need to go find other people to talk to, because I got somebody to talk to anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, so here I am with Blk Minutes, and I'm like, I don't want to just talk about one thing. I want to be like the Jeopardy category of potpourri. You never know what's going to be in the category, what question they're going to ask you, I don't know. So it's kind of like, I do hot topics, but I also like talking about shows that I watch. I also like talking about movies. I like having now, I want to do conversation series, and I'm like, I'm like, I know there's a lot going on, but let's have a conversation about this. Let's have a conversation series about this. And I'm like, I'm no expert in some of these things, or none of these things. So I'm like, let me go talk to people, and this is their lane. Like, let me do that.
But it shows, like, you know what I'm saying, you can hit a lot of different interests and stuff like that, and pull a diverse audience. So, like, you got started, and you said you're coming up on your 5th year. Have you been able to see like the progress? And do you ever go back and like listen to your old episodes and be like,
oh yes I do. So this is the thing, it is so bad. I'm talking to a technical person, because let me just tell you, I am now thinking at this point, my first year, my first episode had a weird, it was like this weird thing in the first episode. It was like this weird click, and it had weird sound. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong? And then I actually was able to guest on the Black Guy Who Tips, and then I was like, oh, this mic broke. I gotta go buy a mic. And I bought, ironically, the Snowball that everybody in the podcast know about. They're like, oh, that thing? I'm like, yes, the Snowball. Girl, everybody know about that mic. And now I'm looking at the mic, I'm like, I don't think it ever worked. And I was using the mic on my computer. And that's why my audio sounded like trash. And I'm like,
the audio sound like trash. It's like,
I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I have so many different mics. But the thing like I did with this setup was that roll mic. Yeah, you know, it being a shotgun mic, so you know it picks up whatever. And that way I ain't got to clip and get like use the lavalier mics or anything like that. Sometimes I do like Facebook Live. And when I do that, that's actually Facebook my biggest platform. I got 11,500 followers on that one.
Oh, okay.
And here lately, I guess because of my phone, when I plug it in my adapter and stuff, and I hook the mics up to my guests and myself, it goes in and out. So I was like, and you know, in the podcast world, you can forgive bad video, or you know, average video. Anybody gonna forgive bad audio? Oh no, they're not. And your audio's gonna die off real quick.
It's like, especially if you're a podcaster. And I'm like, I am not this person, but you're a podcaster who gotta change the battery and your smoke detector. It's like, girl, I've been listening to your show. Boy, I've been listening to this show for like 3 weeks. What is going on with your smoke detector? It was like, what is going on? Because I mean, some of the like audios, and I'm like, talking about things in the background. Because one, you can actually turn that into a quirk. Like if the people who have kids, especially little kids do not care. Like this is a podcast. So anyway, it's about me. You can actually morph that into, y'all know y'all about to hear y'all girl. You're like, oh, a little girl coming. If like I'm recording with my brother, I know my nephew is going to be there. And he don't care. But it's like if he's sleeping, it's like it's great. But any other time, like all of a sudden you'll hear him laughing, or he'll be picking up stuff and turn. Like he literally, we were recording. He literally turned on television like, "What? Y'all doing something? This is my time."
Yeah, exactly. Kids don't care. I've had a couple of my kids inside my podcast as far as visual. Like I had my baby when I had nobody watch or whatever, so I was interviewing a group of fellas, music artists, just sitting there in my arms or whatever. But now I got it to the point where like I have a space and everything, so. They're
like, you're not working. What are you in there doing?
Oh no, this is not in that. No, my space is not even in my house. I have a whole office.
Okay. Oh, it's not in the house.
Yeah, I have a whole office just dedicated towards one is a multi-purpose office. It has my cook shop in there, the hemp-based company, and then the other side of the door is another room, and that's where I do all my podcasting and interviews. That's where I shoot a lot of skits and stuff. So I have to drive like 12 minutes to get to my office. So yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work like doing stuff that was close. And then on top of that, like I'm telling you, I have multiple businesses. So my counseling business, that's why I started my podcast at. But because I had so much stuff going on there, I was like, you know what, I needed just a dedicated space. So I finally got a space. So now I drive from just location to location or business to business.
Okay.
I love it because it allows me to do everything I need to do when it's time to turn it off. I ain't got to worry about it. I can actually turn it off. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I have to, just deal with it when I go back there. Set up equipment, all that stuff. I ain't got load it everywhere and from place to place or whatever. Have people that just come meet me there. Unless I go and do events. I can show up and do events and stuff. But so you launching yours, and now you're at the 5-year marker. But when you first started, and you had your circle. Were they very supportive of like you said, telling you, yeah, you can do this, or did people not understand what you were about to get into?
I think, and even when I think about 5 years ago, people didn't really understand podcasts. They thought, oh, you got a radio show. It's like, I'm not on the radio. But for the most part, everybody around me was very supportive, even if they never listened to it.
Yeah.
Or they don't listen to it all the time. So it's funny, now that I'm on Spotify, and I've been on Spotify for a little while, my mother listens to the show on Spotify, and she just lets it play. So sometimes she'll be walking around the house cleaning, and all of a sudden, Stephanie, I was just cleaning. Then I heard your voice, like, where's that coming from? Oh, I'm letting Spotify play. So, and I'll try not to choke up when I say this. So when my father passed, because he had never been, my mother had been on the podcast, my brother had been on the podcast, but my father was like, no, that's not his thing. He's very much he didn't know, it's one of those things where, talking about social media, older people, that was not him. Yeah. He didn't have any social media. He barely had an email address. Yeah. So he was never coming on a podcast, and I'm like, that's totally fine. So early on, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get business cards, because Vistaprint was giving the deals, because that's what happens. You're like, the deal. I'm like, okay. So I had the business cards. I remember giving some to my parents, didn't even think anything of it. So when he passed, we looked in his wallet, and I looked, and then he had my card in his wallet. And I'm just like, because when I really didn't talk to him he didn't really ask me about the podcast, I didn't really talk to him about it. And so I remember I started crying when I saw it. My mom was like, Stephanie, you don't understand. He was so proud of you in this podcast. He was so proud. He was he was very proud. He told everybody, I tell everybody, my daughter has a podcast and this is where it is. And I was like, I want to know where you're telling them to go, ma'am. I don't know. She probably told them Spotify. Just look it up. Do it on the Instagram. I'm like, I don't know what she's doing, but she be telling everybody. Google it. They're like, yeah, because your mama told me. Your mama told what now? Your mama told you what now? What's going on? It's kind of you gotta. And I know there's the conversation about people going, the people closest to me may not be the most supportive, it might be strangers. But it's you gotta give them some slack. Yeah. This is not their world. Yeah. And they're like, I'm gonna support you because this is what you wanna do. But it's I had a friend that passed away, he said a download is a download. So if they download your show, that they may not listen, it's fine, a download is a download, but they're not talking down on your dream or your gift or your career. So just stay with that. But a lot of people are like, oh, they don't support me. I'm like, they don't support you the way that you want them to. That's different. Yeah. But I'm glad to have people around me that I've gained friends in this space, but also friends that are like, I like your show. I listen to this. I'm like, you did? And they're like, why are you surprised? I'm like, because I don't you don't push it on your friends. Listen. You just want to get it out. But your friends be like, oh yeah, I saw that. And I listened. I'm like, you did? I'm like, why am I so surprised? I'm like, because it's not something you're telling people to do. Yeah. Because it's this expectation of support your way. I'm like, everybody's not going to support you the same way. Yeah. And it's okay. Yeah.
So what achievements or milestones have you been able to hit this far?
So one, doing it at least a year, because that first year is always rocky with a podcast. You can do it a year, you're like, ooh, you made it a whole year? You stuck with it? It's now people are going, 3 months, you stuck with it? What? I've been doing this almost 5 years, but now I talk to people who've been doing it at least 10, that first year is hard. Because one is very much self-propelled on that. So it's like, I made it the first year, I'm like, ooh, yay. So I'm coming up on 5 years, I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think another milestone is going to speak at podcast festivals. I'm like, I get to do this. I'm like, I'm very excited. Or getting on Spotify, where now it's like, seems like people are getting like direct deals to do their podcast on Spotify, which is different. Because I'm like, that didn't used to happen. And now people are like dedicated directly to Spotify.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, that was a big deal. I'm like, because at the time, I still do, I like Spotify. I think the other thing was to get the show, which is Rod and Karen from the Black Guys and Tips, on to guest on my show and them say yes. For me, that was a very big deal. I'm like, you're the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, I did all the work, but it's like, you're the inspiration for it. And I'm like, this is a very big deal for me because you're here.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so exciting. But I also had my mom. Because it's like, again, this isn't her world.
Yeah.
And then her wanting to always come back. Oh, we'll always come back. Oh, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, ma'am, she's like, I don't care. What are we going to talk about? I'm like, whatever you want. And she's like, okay. So I was give her one thing to talk about. She's like, okay, I'm here.
Okay. So, we're both here at this event, the Black Podcast Festival, and what do you want to get out of this?
Definitely want to network, but also get some knowledge. I think seeing the diversity of, that's why I like Blk Podcast Festivals, because there's diversity of, the content, being creative, monetization, business. It's like, it's always like a diversity, and I'm always like, yeah, I actually get to hear this from different people, because one thing I love is Black tech folks. I like when the tech folks are here, because I think it's very intimidating. So for me, I'm like, okay, I can just sit here and listen, because that's always the thing where it's like, always to make my content better, always to make the sound better, because they'll do like a vast majority. Everybody's like, I think last year I went to Afros and Audios, and one of the editors, he's like, I can hit you a different price point to tell you exactly what to do. And you may not get that kind of information if you just seek out people in the void. So that's what I love about this. I'm like, I'm ready to get like content knowledge and also monetization, because I think that's one thing about some folks is that they're like, if I start monetization, will it continue? Or should I just stop? Or should I just think about what kind of monetization? And then you see in some of these, some of the sessions, there's different talks about monetization, because it's not it's not one way. It could be passive, it could be aggressive, or it could be just like something like, that's the great thing about it. I'm like, hearing different ways, I'm like, okay, how do I want to apply this to me? So I think that's what I'm definitely going to be doing.
Yeah, I tell folks, like, I sell ads. I've been paid not to sell ads. No, for real.
Wait, not to sell ads?
Yeah. Yeah, people pay me not to run ads on their interview because they saw.
Okay. Because I was like, how am I pay you? Do not advertise this. I'm like, so now that makes sense.
I said it the wrong way, but yeah. There was a guy who had a gaming league, and he's actually. I met him somewhere in South Atlanta, close to like McDonald's or something. There was a store that I used to go over there, and she let me use the spot. And he saw that all my interviews, I run ads at the beginning, and then sometimes I do like a mid-roll or whatever. But if I don't feel like it's certain there, it's getting it right there at the beginning. Bam. So he get it out the way. So yeah, I want to buy the ads to my interview. Okay. How much for that? Here's the price. Okay. Cash at me. Done deal.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that people don't talk about. That's like, you make money not getting paid not to run ads. Now the whole platform payments or whatever, like, about Anchor. Yeah, so, I tell people, go ahead, do your Anchor, whatever, get your stuff, start building it up. My CPM is actually higher than the average. So like, that's just free money. It'll build up. But then, like, I don't. Are you big on Facebook?
I am not, and I think I'm more like on Twitter and Instagram, because it's probably where I'm more active, at least with my podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm also personally not anymore, I think.
Okay. Well, me and Facebook, we have this weird relationship.
Ooh, your status is complicated. Me, like, in a relationship,
So
it's
I
complicated.
have 2 out of 5 categories of monetization on Facebook. Right?
Okay.
So I can go live and charge people.
Okay.
All you need is 2,000 followers. I say that like it's a big, like it's not a big thing or whatever, but some people act like.
But I think that's good that you're telling people? Because I don't think a lot of people know that. They're like, wait a minute, what's that?
Yeah, you need 10,000. All you need is 10,000 to monetize your page, and you get that parameter. I also do it where if I post content and other like the brand deals or whatever, just like with Instagram, if you post content and the businesses like your content, they put ads on it, and then you'll get paid from that. Now, I was getting close until they changed the parameter for the live stream ads and the on-demand ads. It used to be 60,000 watch minutes within 2 months.
Okay.
I did 40 over the course of the year. So I was like, I had some more work to do or whatever, but I saw the light. You know what I'm saying? I saw it speckling or whatever. They changed it to 600,000 in 2 months, which is 10,000 hours. Yeah, exactly. That's 10,000 hours in 2 months. That's a lot of content.
That's
exactly.
a lot
That's
of
super
content.
lot.
Way too much, by the way.
And based off of I don't make my platform isn't built off of negative stuff. It's built off of positivity. So it's easy. I'm not anybody can jump out here because I've seen a lot of podcasts where they're sensationalizing stuff or that's what they're running with to make their names. I don't necessarily care for that.
You're like, that's not me.
That's not me. So I was like, okay, whatever. Y'all want to change the game and all that stuff, whatever. But I think the pandemic. That's why they changed all that because there was a lot of people at home and a lot of different content creators, whatever. So
outside was closed.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I was pissed that they did it or whatever. Me and Facebook were going back and forth, especially because I play a lot of music and stuff. And
so if you play music, are they like the?
Oh yeah,
will they yank your videos?
Oh no, they won't yank them. What they do is they send me a notification telling me, oh, this is banned in 238 countries. I was like, okay, thank you.
Because Instagram does the same thing. So I thought this is not business related.
Yeah.
I just reposted a video that I saw on Instagram, and they said, so you're going to take this down because it's like, I got this from you, Dad. What are you doing right now?
Me and TikTok fight like that all the time.
Really?
I hate TikTok. I got TikTok and everything, and I be doing stuff, and I create a lot of original content now. And I went and I bought a license where I can download the music from there, and it clears TikTok most of the time, and it'll clear YouTube. But prior to that or whatever, I was first of all, TikTok with the copyright violations, y'all platform is a copyright violation.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
That's
if
what
I'm
it's built
responding
off
to
of.
something off of here, like, you're in violation
But
of something from you?
Exactly. But what it is though is that TikTok wants you to download their video and to use the audio from their video because it's tagged.
Okay.
And to do it. What I don't do is that. I don't do that. Now I did do it on a couple things or whatever because I was seeing what's trending and stuff like that. But I like to go and find the original track, buy it or whatever, put it into the video, and then upload it to TikTok. And then of course they hit me with the they hit me with the copyright violation every time. I had a song on there, 60s and 70s songs or whatever. I can't remember. And I had to show it to you, but I have this character that I created called 31 Savage, and he 31 Savage. He pushes the cook shop, and I was acting to the lyrics of the song, and it was like sensualized, sexual. It wasn't explicit. So then TikTok, they're like, cool, you know what I'm saying? You can get your plays off of it and everything. So then I go to promote it. You can promote on TikTok.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, we ain't finna promote this. It violates community standards. I was like, hold up, it violates community standards. So I go and look at other people's stuff, and I'm like, you got, first of all, you got all this ads and everything on TikTok. And then on top of that, you got people talking about WAP and all this or whatever. And I'm like, hold on, I saw a woman breastfeeding. If that ain't, no, I'm not against breastfeeding. As a man, I think it should be done more often in public, just so it can be normal. But if you're going to say my creativeness of content is violating community standards, then her showing her nipple is violating community standards without a doubt. But you'll let it get 50, 80, 100,000 views and stuff.
Yoink.
Exactly.
It's so weird what the line is.
I think once you get on the
things.
list, though, I think they got a list.
I think they do. They're like, okay, that's strike one. It's like,
Exactly.
put him on the list. Because you know how you go in certain stores, they'll have a list like or people's picture, see this person, you're like, I haven't been here and God knows how long. Why my picture up there?
Yeah.
Not Stephanie's picture,
Yeah.
but somebody else.
Yeah.
You be like, this picture has been up here for months now.
Exactly.
You can take it down. I don't think the people's coming back to your store now. I don't think they're coming back. Especially because I'm pretty sure their friends are like, you know your picture up. I'm like, oh, that means I can't come back to that store. That's
But for everybody out there who's gonna watch this, let them know what can they find your podcast, listen to it, and follow you on social media.
Okay, so I'll start where you can find the podcast. You find it basically everywhere except SoundCloud. SoundCloud is not for the podcast; it's for the rappers and the DJs. But Apple, Spotify, is now Google. It used to be something else, but it's like Google Podcasts is also on. I had to re-look because they've been changing names. I'm like, wait, when the heck did this start? But I think it's on Pandora now, Amazon Music, because I found it. I was like, oh, I found it, because I always look to see, I'm like, is this still active? But when it comes to the podcast, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, same handle, Mocha Minutes. You can also buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Mocha Minutes. I am on there as well. Patreon is coming. That's the other thing about monetization, because you're like, I should do this, but then it's like, is this the right platform to do it, or should I do a different method? But but when it comes to like platform handles, I was like, nope, everything got to be the same, because that'll help me to understand and remember it. I was like, nope, same where, everywhere.
Exactly.
I'm like, I can't tell different.
Consistency.
Like, really? Like, you gave them like, same handle everywhere else. Can't.
Exactly. It didn't make sense. It's like, I believe in the KISS model, keep it simple, stupid. So, maybe I'm too business of folks. But y'all definitely go check out Stephanie's podcast, Mocha Minutes. Like she said, everywhere. Support. She's repping that Baltimore. Is Baltimore considered a DMV area as well?
It technically is. It's so funny when you say DMV. But everybody's like, what is that? It's like, it's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I don't know why DC is first. Virginia probably feels the same way that I do. Like, why are y'all first? But then it's like, I don't want to have no fights. But so I'm considered the DMV area. But I think DMV is kind of like where DC, Maryland, and Virginia are more, or touching more, because it's kind of like there's parts of DC that's closest to Virginia, and there's parts of DC that's closer to Maryland. But when you think about that area, but it does branch out to southern Virginia and also more northern, which is Baltimore. So.
Okay, well, there you have it. Y'all make sure
that's as much geography y'all gonna get. Don't Google it and say, well, actually, I'm like, you know what? I'm only telling you that Baltimore's in Maryland. Merlin. So y'all support, and make sure y'all go and download that Blk Radio Show app.